to AAA. 5 starts. You're a Yankee. His velocity and stuff has been on point tonight. And it's a pretty simple arsenal. He learned to throw a sweeper out of a 2-seamer and a sinker, and that 4-seamer is his money pitch. Still throwing 98. As Tony said earlier, easy gas. Easy gas.
Getting swings and misses with that 4-seamer.
A very consistent, smooth, and repeatable delivery has delivered high octane all night long.
Facial expression has never changed. Gonzalez is gone.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah, and he continues to give reason for Boone not to take him out.
Oh, we're taking a hitter by hitter right now. This is October.
And Duran pops it up, giving chase and making the catch and flipping into the Red Sox dugout. What a catch by McMahon. Schlittler, the first one over there to congratulate him.
Oh, man.
McMahon airborne.
But he's known for his elite defense, and it's not just ground balls. They know what's at stake.
What's going on, everybody?
All out on the
How
line.
you doing? Happy Thursday night. We got a little Yankee Red Sox Game 3 baseball to finish out the wild card. Yankees up 4-0. Cam Schlittler having the game of his life. 12 strikeouts.
For the Yankees. He ran 75 feet to make the play.
A huge defensive play right there. In the 8th inning, Schlittler still out there. Well over 100. And there it is. I would let him go. Let him go. Complete game. Come on. Oh, man, what a game for the young Cam Schlittler. All right, let's get this show on this road. Yankees about to win this wild card against Boston.
9 in a row. He struck out 12. And he looked as strong in the 8th as he did in the 1st.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get it going. Maybe? I don't know. Now? Okay, pasta?
I've been known to play mine to a T, but it's time for me to lead, picking dirt right out the cleats. Steep path, roadblocks in the streets, trying to knock me off my feet, cause the devil never sleeps. So I don't sleep too, and trying to breach safes that I didn't have the keys to. We all been victims of trauma we ain't agreed to, but the sun comes after, starting up a new chapter.
Isn't it lovely? I ain't looking back and focus on what's in front of me. Everybody dates a number, but I'm still here luckily. I know that God got me, so I'm in good company. Yeah. Isn't it lovely?
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Matty B, Epis Sports Radio, episode 39. It's a live reaction of Game 3 of the Wild Card Series between Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. Currently, looking like it's about to come to an end. Cam Schlittler having the game of his life. Just got out of the 8th inning. Yankees coming up to bat, up 4-0 already. Pretty much just a dominant night overall. Little small ball offense, and no big flies tonight for them. And that's a stark contrast to what you usually used to seeing with them. So big time stuff from Cam Schlittler. He's the story, really. 12 strikeouts, and I mean, I don't see how they don't take him out here. I'm going to put the audio back on for you guys here. Thank you for joining us on YouTube and Twitch live with me. All right, let's catch the end of this Yankee game. Now, unfortunately, I can't show it to you due to copyright, but pretty sure you can listen along with me. Good start. Good lineup choice, whether it be by Boone or Cashman coming up from upstairs. But, you know, going with Rosario tonight, RBI single. Volpe has just been phenomenal in this series. Good for him. Here's a base hit by Goldschmidt to start off the bottom of the 8th. Even though it's a 4-0 lead, you definitely could use 1 or 2 more runs here. All right, this is a spot where you're like, all right, you need to get a couple.
The adrenaline you're feeling right now and the satisfaction of coming through for your teammates. There's nothing like it. And on the national stage, a star is born.
A star is born, as Booney described him, a stud is born.
And in the bright lights of the big city.
Yeah. In control throughout.
Let's see, 107 pitches for Cam Schlittler. I mean, that's phenomenal, by the way. So I would definitely go with him. I mean, you don't need to. You're up 4-0. Could just hand it off to Williams, call it a night. He's been good for you lately, right? So it's not a bad play either.
By any standard of a starting pitcher in 2025.
The Red Sox have only had 1 batter reach second base in 8 innings. 1 hitter got to second base.
Well, he's...
And just to be clear, McMahon with that phenomenal defensive play to end, to help get through that 8th inning. Falling into the dugout over there, coming in for Rosario. So, good choice. Bringing him in late in this game. Up 4-0, making a play like that. I don't know if Rosario necessarily making that play. Chisholm with another great night, 2 for 3.
Chapman gets the call there, and Ian McMahon strikes out.
Carl, this is a rivalry that has generated unlikely heroes. Dent, Boone, Dave Roberts, and now Schlittler.
For sure.
He will never have to buy a beer in New York the rest of his life. Coney, you know all about that.
That's why I hang out with Coney.
Getting a little thirsty right now.
What an atmosphere in the Bronx tonight. I gotta say though, I hate the fact that the ESPN broadcast kind of
Tell you this.
lowers the crowd volume at certain points. I hate that. Just let it go. I want to be able to hear it, I want to hear the atmosphere. I want to hear everything that's going on. I want to, if they're loud to the point where I can't hear the commentators, that's fine. Let that be the case, man. At that point, it's just your job as a commentator to just be quiet, let it go.
Certainly in postseasons. I mean, generally the formula offensively is you out-homer the opponent. And if you have a team that can squash homers while they hit them, that's a formula for World Series championships.
In other news right now, we got a little Thursday night football going on. Rams, San Francisco Rams just cutting it a little closer now as there's 13 minutes to go in the fourth. Down 6, 20-14.
Call strike 3 to Jazz Chisholm.
Oh, Chisholm gets called right there. Chappie up and away.
All the power you need to get the job done right. With the
Jazz getting cold looking there.
Like Steel, Ego, Milwaukee, and Toro. With free assembly and delivery or ready for pickup in just 15 minutes.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Anthony Volpe, 2 down, 4-0 New York.
The Cubbies ended up beating San Diego today 3-1. Watched a little bit of that when I got home. I was traveling on the way home from the Adirondacks today, so didn't catch all that. Detroit, believe it or not, despite losing the division, they find a way to beat Cleveland in Cleveland. 6-3 and 2-1 in the wild card series, and they'll advance. Big letdown for Cleveland right there, but now Detroit, all of a sudden new lease on life, and who knows what team will be able to knock them down. Will it be the Yankees? Will it be doesn't look like it's going to be Boston anymore, that's for sure. If I had to guess, it would be either the Yankees or Seattle. I think Seattle is primed to make a run too. I think Yankees and Seattle are the two best teams in the American League.
Yeah, to your point, Carl, the most important move is the guy we saw tonight. Was drafted and developed in the system.
Give credit to the Yankees, though, man, for coming out and, especially like Cam Schlittler, I mean, putting up this performance. You just,
it's a feather in the cap for everybody.
hard to bank on it, but, he's the real deal. I think he's finally, this is his moment, Obviously, if you're a Yankee fan, you're a baseball fan, you've been watching him all year long. He's been definitely showing you what he's capable of, but doing it in this moment, Game 3, wild card, season on the line, and this type of performance against pretty damn good lineup. You can say a lot, about Boston not showing up, whatever you will, but that's one hell of a performance for sure from the kid Cam tonight. Gotta tip your hat. All right, let's see if they can finish it off here. I would think, after what happened with taking out Freed, that they're going to let the kid go. Maybe if there's any sign of trouble here, you take him out, you get him out of here in the ninth inning, don't mess around, right? Hand it over to Williams. Definitely have Williams ready. I think that's standard right here. Williams has got to be ready in this scenario a little bit, otherwise, you're running the risk of, throwing this game away here. But so far, so good. Let's see if Boone doesn't outmanage himself in the last moments of this ball game. Up 4-0. Gonna be good, and then you look forward to playing Toronto, and I think that's easy to say. You got to go out there and win the games, but I think that's a very winnable series for the Yankees. So they got to figure out their matchups. Obviously, Luis Gil has got to be in the mix there. How he's not on this roster and this wild card makes no sense to me. You got a guy like Blackburn, just being a wasteful roster position, in this scenario. Why not Gil? But I'd imagine, obviously he's going to be a big part of the next series against Toronto, if in fact they could close it out right now. So we'll see. Let's get this audio back on for you. And I could probably Put up the game cast too. Should be good. All right, here we go. 9th inning. Yeah, they did take him out. They put in Bednar. All right, I'd probably go. This is Bednar's 3rd straight day. And he's. I don't know. I would have stuck with the kid. I'm very surprised with Bednar here. This is what I mean by out coaching yourself. I don't like this move. Stick with the kid, man. 107 pitches, I believe. Let's check it. Where is it? Pretty sure 107 pitches. 107 pitches, 75 strikes. Come on. 12 strikeouts, only 5 hits. No walks for the kid. Come on. Bednar better get it done here. I tell you. He better get it done. Oh, little outside, little outside.
Third straight day for Bednar. He's done it 3 times in his career. He's got 3 saves, 3 for 3. Hasn't allowed a run doing so.
Whew. Oh my. If you're watching this, that one just missed up and in. Little breaking ball. And a leadoff walk. And this is what I'm talking about. Out coaching yourself. The kid didn't have 1 walk all goddamn night. And Bednar comes in 3 straight days. And immediately walks the first batter. Okay. Next batter pretty good. It's right down on the middle. Yoshida, 2 for 3 tonight. 2 singles. 4 for 6 this series. To the right side. Double play ball. Let's go. Only one. Too slow. About a 15 hopper to second. But there you go. Big out there for Bednar. The Yanks. Just a ground ball away. From an advance and playing Toronto in the LDS. How about it? Ho! Hanger high, but caught the strike zone. Risky business, folks. Risky business. All right. 2 strikes. Well, this is a tough one for Boston, no doubt. I think missing their young stud in the lineup certainly hurt them offensively. Took the steam out this lineup. I'm talking about Roman Anthony. It's a good team, this Boston team, and to steal one from the Yankees in Game 1. Yeah, I had to feel good about it. Thought you could find a way to at least win 1 in the next 2. There you go, beautiful pitch. Chasing out of zone. 1 out away. Let's pump up. Sorry, I realized that some of the audio is a little low there. Now you can hear it good.
And strike number 1. A very disappointing finish to last year in the World Series. in Game 5. Not that any team needs motivation, but they had a little extra coming into this season. As Yoshida will take second. This one is popped up.
That's playable. There it is.
The Yankees have completed step one.
How about
on
it?
their way back to a World
Cheers to the
Series.
Yanks. Congratulations. And man, you come back from this, and you gotta feel like there's no stopping you now. Yeah, that was a real deflating loss in Game 1 for the Yanks. You know, the fan base felt it. That's for damn for sure. You heard it a lot in the New York media. And to come back, win this one in easy fashion, you know, thanks to your pitcher, young Cam Schlittler. 12 Ks. I would have let the kid go. I would have liked to see that, man. That would have been something else. Complete game shutout. You know, only 107 pitches. What was it? 75 strikes. You know, I'd like to see the kid go. And of course, Bednar, you know, gets a little shaky there with the leadoff walk, but you know, comes right back from it, finishes it off, and what more can you ask for in a Game 3? You know, yeah, I mean, you gotta love this. The atmosphere was great, and now you go up against a team that you know you could beat in Toronto. I don't, you know, there's no reason why you can't. You know, and then who's stopping you then? Like I said, maybe Seattle. We'll see. You know, Cleveland is dead. Boston is dead. You know, we'll see. Is this the Yankee team that can do it? You know, the way this kid's pitching right now, that you know, it's like a bona fide ace out of nowhere in the postseason for you now. I mean, like, I know it's just, you know, this game, but you got to think, you know, you're throwing him out there next series, you're gonna feel good. You got him, you got Rodon, you got Fried, you got Heel. And the bullpen has seemingly put it together a little bit, but you gotta let your starters go deep. If they could go deep, you gotta let them do so. You know, I'm not gonna get too hard on them for not letting them go out there in the ninth, but you know, if they gave up a couple of runs, there would have been some criticism on it. You know, Bednar gives up a 2-run homer right there. You're gonna hear from it again. But man, what a game. It was fun to watch. What a hell of a wild card baseball day it was. The last 3 days, really, just back to back to back all day long. You know, I was away up in Lake Placid for a couple of days, but you know, I was catching some of the games on TV when I could. And you know, just again, a good wild card round all in all. As it you know, comes to an end here. You know, Cincinnati, man, that was about the one series. Cincinnati, LA, that series sucked. You know, more. We'll talk more about that.
Ever to have 8+ innings, no walks, 12+ strikeouts. When could you say you had great stuff tonight?
No walks, 12 strikeouts, man. He looks poised out there, and with that, when his stuff, this kid, you know, throwing 100 miles per hour, you know, I mean, you don't even necessarily need to locate it all the time, you know, like, you know, just let your, you know, stuff do the job for you, you know. Good for him, man.
What's it like for you to beat the team that you rooted for as a kid?
I tell you, I think all the rookie New York studs in the New York area. Sorry, the highlights are blacked out. No more of that. Let's get out of the screen. Out of all the rookie studs, you know, between like Mets and Yankees, you know, you're looking at Cam, Tong, McLean, Sproat, you know. I think this kid probably the best out of all of them. I think the Yankees got the best young arm in New York and quite possibly in baseball. I mean, you know, he proved it on the biggest stage right there. Now, enough of this. Enough of this audio. Good stuff, man. Cam Schlitter and the Yankees move on. a big must-win series. No matter how you look at it, I know it was a must-win game the last two, but just a must-win series for the Yankees to prove themselves, prove who they are. Would have been a pretty damn bad letdown to lose this one against the Red Sox. And at one point, you're thinking they could have, gotten swept there and just lost in two. But, they pulled it out yesterday, and they pulled it out again today, and shut them down. Really, again, Cam leaving no doubt tonight. It didn't really seem like Boston ever was pressing on that door. Good for him, and it is a beautiful thing. What was I going to say? To win this series for the Yankees, after, losing the division, it's tough. It's tough, especially, coming this close, right? It was, just, tying it and losing it to the tiebreaker. It's tough, it was a heartbreaker in that sense. It comes down to, last game of the season. And then, already off to a bad start here in the wild card. You lose game one, throws you for a complete loop. And, now your backs are up against the wall. What do you do? How do you navigate it? And, they navigated nicely, man. They got it done. I like the moves tonight. I think early on in the series, they outcoached themselves a little bit with that game one. You don't play Jazz. You don't play Rice. And you see the impact. Even though Rice had a terrible night tonight, I think he ended up with an 0 for tonight. Let me double check that. But he did not look good against the lefty pitcher early, who, by the way, Connolly early, it wasn't that bad. Only lasted 3 and 2/3, but and did give up 6 hits. They kind of tagged him, in that last inning, and that's why they took him out. And it was a good call to do so. But it was effective. 6 strikeouts. Only 1 walk. He was pitching 78 pitches, though. It was up there. They were right for taking him out when he did, but gave him some meaningful innings. Bullpen for Boston was able to, hold it together. They didn't give up anything else after that. Slayton, Matt, Schweitzer, Chapman, were all, shut down. But didn't matter. Needed offense in the end. What did Rice get? Yeah, Rice went 0 for 3. Goldschmidt came in and pinch hit for him later on and got a hit. And damn, even though Rice struggled tonight, you got to put him in the lineup. He's been a damn good hitter for them all year long. Say what you will about his defense, and he does drop that ball early on in this game too, which was interesting, to see, but luckily, nothing came out of it. Could you imagine, right after that, boom, 2-run homer because it was man on at the time, and it's looking bad for the Yankees all of a sudden. That could have been a bit of a turning point. Obviously, it was a drop ball in foul territory, so it doesn't really hurt him there. But it rather catchable ball for Rice, for any first baseman, and didn't, messed up on that one for sure. But you got to have him in the lineup with the offense, regardless of the 0 for tonight. I would still stick with him. I like Goldie, but I think, Rice is the answer there. You want to, mix and match, I suppose you could, but you gotta play the kid. You got to play the kid, especially when he's hitting. With that being said, Goldschmidt gives you some valuable at-bats too, especially in the postseason, So if the kid, doesn't hit, maybe next series you reevaluate that a little bit, or maybe you give him a day off. But I think you got to go with him, and maybe use Goldschmidt in a spot like you did tonight, late in the game. Pinch hit, a little bit better present veteran bat, come in late in the game. Why not? I don't think that, that's not a bad idea. And same thing with Chisholm, man. You seen the whole post-game presser, with Chisholm after game one, not getting start. And, the analytics sometimes, man, we just outcoaches, you. And I think, it showed. It showed in the result. They lost. And I'm not saying, hey, they should win every game if Chisholm, Volpe, Rice, whatever, these guys are in the lineup. But sometimes you just got to go with your guys. You got to go with the hot hand. You got to, Chisholm, to me, he's getting the money, he's getting the contract. So, he's been the guy that should have been, playing from day one. I don't know, had as much of a question mark there. I like the move to go to Rosario tonight. Obviously he hits lefties really well. So you got a left-handed pitcher in there, and it paid off. Came up, with a big RBI single, got the offensive going, just out of the outstretched hand of the shortstop, and, Story, and, Yankees were off and running. Good old Rosario, man. Former Met, doing it with the Yankees again. It's beautiful thing, But that, that is a situation where analytics, points to, favoring it. But, Rosario's a short thing, good at bat, and, even though McMahon, great defense, you see what he's capable of doing with that amazing defensive play later in the game there, falling into the Red Sox dugout there. Beautiful. Again, I don't know if Rosario makes that play. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he makes a business decision, doesn't go for it. Ryan McMahon, he's that guy, defensively. He's just an absolute stud, but he's hurting you offensively. He has, ever since coming over to the Yankees. So, you got to make... You got to get it where you can. And one thing that I really love about this Yankee team, and or at least in this game tonight with this Yankee team, is the small ball factor. Not doing it with the long ball. Although it was funny to see Stanton with the shot to left center, and he totally showboated it, man. Thought that he had hit one out. And that's where balls go to die out in Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium especially. And man, he thought he had one. It was funny, but credit to him though, and he's not a fast guy. We all know this, but he was able to leg it out and go two regardless, and end up on second. So that'd have been something. If he gets thrown out on that, oof, not a bad luck. So there's a couple of things like that tonight. The Rice drop. The Stanton, the showboat, where, he thinks he's going to be a home run, but it actually isn't, almost gets thrown out at second. So, little moves like that. But other than that, they played some sound baseball overall. I'll give credit to them. It was Boston that was looking like they were really the sloppy ones tonight. And... it showed. Again, they just, they didn't have it in them. And, hey, man, I don't know what else to say, but I think this offense on Boston team, they're good, they're scrappy. But this kid, no walks, which is huge. Boston, they could run, they could take the extra base. That's how they play, when they're not hitting a homer, And this kid not allowing any walks, really just not allowing any, streaks. One hit, every now and then. Not and never a situation, I don't think, tonight where he gave up back-to-back hits, or even, I think, 2 hits in an inning. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But, that's winning baseball. I mean, this is, at the end of the day, when you have a dominant pitcher on the mound, and he's able to do what, a guy like Cam Schlittler did tonight, it's going to be hard to win in October, for anybody, going up against that. especially as it gets colder. And this guy's, throwing 99, 98 in the eighth, still nasty, And if you want, hey, you do got Bednar, you do got Williams, coming out of that pen, and then hey, in a big time winning situation, a game 5, game 6, game 7, who knows who else is coming out that bullpen if you need them. So Yankees are primed. And it's kind of scary because their offense isn't like clicking on all cylinders right now, but their pitching is stellar. And when you look at the rest of the American League and you say to yourself, okay, who do they stack up against, in terms of all teams? They stack up against everybody, and the one team that stands out again to me, I think, is Seattle. I think Seattle can outduel the Yankees, but will it come down to those offenses? Which I think the Yankees have the slight upper hand there. I know you got Cal Riley, the whole nine, but I'm sorry, I don't know. I just don't see it. Could be wrong, might be wrong. Who knows if Seattle even gets out of their first divisional round? It's not a guarantee there either. So what a start! What a start to this MLB playoffs. Really wish that my Metsies were in the mix, but we all know that's not the case. So that's all right though. But so now it's Mariners Tigers. All right, that takes off 2 days from now. Mariners already minus 200 to win that first game, by the way. I don't know. Tigers, they scrappy, found a way to win, even though they were looking terrible going into this wild card series. They just really were. I mean, they lost the division. They let it just slip away. One of the worst divisional leads that they let that a team let slip away in the history of baseball, in my opinion. I mean, 15 and a half games out at one point was Cleveland, and you let that slip away. They're lucky that they still got into the postseason at that point, and kudos to them, for showing up. I mean, Scooble did what he had to do in game 1, and they handled themselves in game 3 today. But I don't know, man. I think Seattle is waiting. Who knows? Maybe this little time off right now, might hurt a team. We've seen that in the past as well. But you see more teams now, do the scrimmage thing. The hell is this? There's some grease on my microphone. What the hell is this? You see teams now. Oh yeah, it probably is actually. It's like a brand new sound. I don't know what you call it, arm. Yeah, arm boom thing. For my mic, it's got a little lubed up, because it's nice and new. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see if they're up for the challenge. I'm not saying it's impossible. Listen, these two teams by record are only a 3-game difference. But Seattle, I think overall, last 2 months of the season looked like the better team. Obviously, with everything that was going on with Cal Riley, took away the steam, everything else that was going on. But, they are a damn good team. The pitching is damn good. And clearly, Vegas likes them to start the series off with a minus 200 on the money line right now. That's big. That's big indeed. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll get it going. Other matchups are on the way. The Yankees and Blue Jays will kick off 4:08. That'll actually be the first game. Yeah, no. Brewers Cubs will be the first game on the 4th. So 2:08 p.m. Brewers Cubs will face off. And Brewers, this is the time for them, because Cubs are on a nice high. Big win today, 3-1 over Padres, and typical Padres, right? Like this is just typical, Tatis, the Machados of the world. This team, never gets over that hump. Painful franchise to watch. A lot of all-star talent up and down that lineup. And in their roster in general, and just, man, can't get it done. Credit to the Cubs having a phenomenal year, and I like the Cubbies. I do. Brewers better watch out. Cubbies are on a roll right now. They're vibing in Chicago. I think the Cubbies are primed to do a little something here, so you got to be careful. All right. And, the reason I say that, too, mainly is because, Brewers in the past, just can't get it done. Obviously, we've seen them get knocked out last year with the Mets. And, Mets took it deep, but ultimately wasn't the team to do it. Brewers, can they change the narrative? Can they get out of this round? Can they beat the Cubs? They should beat the Cubs, theoretically, on paper. I think they are the better team. They were the better team, right? You look around, all of baseball, and you say to yourself, okay, this is, they had the best record in all of baseball. They're the best team. One game better than the Phillies. Phillies better than the Brewers. They're up there. A lot of people expecting this to be Phillies' year as well. And again, them to me, they both are looked at as, well, you have to prove it. You have to show it. Now Phillies, they have that history. Brewers, it's been a while. Let's make it happen. To me, this just screams like a win now team, or else they might lose their window. Phillies, on the other hand, the way that organization moves, I feel like they're going to be in the mix. And who knows, with the question marks in this, National League East, as long as it stays the National League East the way it is designed now, because there was some rumors about shaking up the structures of the league, the divisional leagues and all that, which I'm totally in favor for. But until they do so, I don't see, outside of the Mets and Phillies, I don't really see, maybe the Marlins, maybe the Marlins making some moves. I just, I don't see it. So these are the two teams. These are the two teams that got to show it. Toronto, I would say Toronto too, but, Toronto I don't have the faith in. I don't know, for whatever reason, I just don't see them as a team that's going to take it to the promised land this year. They're probably the most boring 94-win team that I've seen in quite some time. They just don't excite me. I don't know what it is, but they just don't excite me. I want to check back and see the record this year. Yankees, Blue Jays. I'm not sure off the top. I'll check schedule by. Well, I'm going to break that down for you Yankee fans. I'm going to check that game by game. Again, October 4, 2 days from now, they'll be going. 4:08. That'll be the second game. That's going to be a wild day, man. Saturday is going to have, you got college football. You got wild card baseball all day long, starting at 2 o'clock. 2, 4, 6, 8, just wild stuff. Let's check. Let's check it. Give me the Yanks. Give me the Yanks. Thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight on YouTube and Twitch. We are simulcast. Thank you for all the support, as always. Please follow, like, comment, subscribe. Don't be shy. Let me know where you're coming from, what you're doing. If you're into baseball, not into baseball, you want to talk a little bit of something else, I'm here for you. It's a beautiful, I keep on thinking it's a Friday night, but it's a beautiful Thursday night. Recapping a little Yankee Red Sox, Game 3. As I was playing it for those of you who were with me earlier in the stream, been going for about 45 minutes now. We caught the last 2 innings. Nah, I'm wrong. By the time I was on, I caught the last inning. Bottom of the 8th and the top of the 9th of Game 3. As New York Yankees advance to the ALDS, and they will take on Toronto Blue Jays. I was just looking at the Yankees schedule this year. Let's take it back, shall we? Take it way back. When the season started. Let's see the official record that the Yankees had. All right, there you go. I think I got it here. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Righty up. So let's see. First series with Yankees Jays came in April. 4-2. They lost the first one. Second one was postponed. They made it up on April 27th, so it was a doubleheader. Yankees won the doubleheader 11-2 and 5-1 in the nightcap. That was a nice little sweep there. And then, so off of that, 2-1 against the Jays in April there with the doubleheader. Did they play them in May? No, they did not play them in May. All right, we check it back. End of June. June 30th is when that next series between them started. They lost 5-4, so that's a 2-2 record. Yeah, that's right. They got swept 4 games in Toronto. Wow, 12-5, 11-9, and 8-5 in those remaining 3 games. So 5-4 in that first one, 12-5, 11-9, and 8-5. And one thing just off the top that you're seeing a lot, a big trend in these games between the Yankees and Blue Jays, when you're looking back, is high scoring. Even the ones that Yankees won 2 out of 3, they scored a lot. So that's a good sign. So if their pitching can improve here, you got to think that, hey man, we might be able to slug a little bit in this series, and being a very strong offensive game. But unfortunately, in that series in Toronto, they lost all of them. So they got swept 4. So that was, bad. 2-5, that would make them, okay? So that's tough. 2-5, the Yankees' record so far to July. And then I believe they played him again right after the All-Star break and lost 2 out of 3 again in Toronto. Jeez. All right. So that's 3-7 record. Not looking back. Not looking good on the history this season. So looking like Toronto had won that series, right? Yeah, they had to. We know that much because they ended up in the tiebreaker. So did they? I'm assuming they win the series outright. Yeah. Oh wait, no, hold on. So then they lose 2 out of Yankees win 2 out of 3 at home against the Jays in September. So that makes them 5-8, right? 5-8 against Toronto, and I think that's it. Yep. There you go. All right. So there's the record, right? Pretty sure it's 5-8 there. So, that series getting swept in Toronto back in end of June, early July, and those days right there. That's something else. that's something else that's going to have to be looked at, and clearly pitching was a problem. Pull that out. Let's see. Maybe just run through that series a little bit. Again, thank you everybody for joining me tonight on YouTube and Twitch. Please follow, subscribe. Don't be shy. Leave a comment. Comment where you're coming from. City. Cam, Nasty. What's up, Nasty? How you doing, bro? Congrats to your New York Yankees, baby. Cam Schlittler. He's a new big thing, man. He's big. He's rugged. Not afraid to throw it up and in. Give you a little chin action. Yankees might have a new ace of the future. I tell you what, going forward, you have Rodon, you have Cam, you have Fried, you have Cole, and you have Heel. Oh, yeah. I think, this Yankee team could maybe be even better next year. I don't know, I think they gotta tweak some things offensively for sure. I think this team's gonna look different offensively, but maybe not. Maybe they don't have to. Maybe they could honestly be quite similar, but it's really gonna depend on how they finish here in this playoffs. And obviously, I think anything short of World Series win would be a bit of a letdown. But we'll see. So back in that June-July series in Toronto, just checking. Yeah, Scherzer had pitched in that one. 3 hits, 2 earned. Went 5 innings, 7 Ks. And I don't know, man. I just don't see, Scherzer, being shut down at this point in the year, at this point in his career. But I could be wrong. Rodon pitched not too bad. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned. 3 walks, though, 4 Ks. So it was a little bit, but Leiter got tagged there with the 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. So 2 errors for the Yankees. That's was probably one of those games where we're receiving some bad defense. Let's see who made the error. Yeah, it was definitely Volpe right there. That was 11th error on the year. And Escara, the catcher, catcher interference. Psh. Had one of those tonight. Catcher interference. Let's see. Oh, man. San Francisco 23-20. 42 seconds left in that game right now. I wish I could pull the audio up for that for you guys for that one, but I don't have. It's on Prime. Otherwise, I would. I only have Hulu Live, so usually I would do that, pull that up for you guys. But can't believe the Rams coming back. They were looking like there was no shot in that. I might just follow along and see and follow along this box score. Damn, I have Prime too, but I just don't have it set up. I don't even know the password because I think it's my wife's account. But Mac Jones, man, keeping San Francisco alive. How about this? 296 yards tonight for Mac Jones. 2 touchdowns. Clean game for him. He's got 100 quarterback rating. Stafford, 3 touchdowns for him. He's doing all that he can. 320 yards through the air. Let's see, Christian McCaffrey, 22 carries, 57 yards, just 2.6 average yards per carry. So rather pedestrian from McCaffrey tonight. You know, it's really been a Mac Jones story. Jones, 4 carries, 5 yards for himself. He's been doing whatever he can to get out of the pocket, find a way. Kind of bit telling of the story right there. Kieran Williams, 13 carries, 65 yards for Los Angeles. Had 20 long. Devontae Adams, 88 yards, 5 receptions. Nakua, 9 receptions, 76 yards. He's got a touchdown. Williams, 6 receptions, 57 yards through the air, and 2 touchdowns. So he's doing a little bit of everything. Dual threat right there. McCaffrey, much better through the air. 6 receptions, 60 yards tonight. Kendrick Bourne having a huge night. 142 yards through the air, 14.2 per carry. Doesn't have a touchdown, though. Has one for 35. 11 targets, 10 receptions. Crazy good night for Kendrick Bourne. That's been the main target for Mac Jones tonight. Let's see, 12 seconds, and where's the ball? Let's see. Does Los Angeles have this here? I'm reading off the stats. It looks like they're in position. Yeah. It looks like Los Angeles is in position right here. We got ball on the 30 there. Trying to follow on. Third timeout by San Francisco. Oh. It's a bit of a live reaction right now to San Francisco 49ers, Los Angeles Rams. As the Rams moving the ball here with 12 seconds to go. Trying to complete the comeback. An incomplete pass down towards a 10-yarder. Oh, the San Francisco 49ers. Incomplete. Oh, my. Oh, my, indeed. Let's see if I pull this up. I'll read that for you guys, too. So you can see a little bit of what I'm seeing. Wow. And they're still going for it, too. Like, they're not even just settling for it. And the field goal is good. 48-yard field goal. And the Rams have tied it. 23-23 with 2 seconds left. How about that? That's really good clock management down the stretch right there for the Rams. I don't know how many plays in this drive here. Yeah, they look like they had ball was at the 50. 42 seconds. It was 1st and 10 at the 50. First pass was incomplete, deep right to Nakua. Then a pass incomplete, deep middle. 35 seconds, still ball at the 50. Then the pass short right to Williams. Ran out of bounds at the San Francisco 43 for 7 yards. Was 3rd and 10 at the no, that can't be how can that be right? It can't be right. No, that wouldn't be 3rd and 10. He ran out of bounds. It was 7 yards, so it'd be 3rd and 3. Oh no, that was on the 3rd down. Okay, that was on the 3rd down. So yeah, that's right. It'd be 4th and 3. So they went for it on 4th and 3. As you got to go for it. They weren't in field goal position there. At the San Francisco 43. Pass short right to Williams again. And beautiful. They get it for 13 yards. Big time connection there for Stafford. Leans on Williams there down the stretch and makes it happen. That puts them in position. And that, to took the clock all the way from 25 to 13 seconds. Then you go no huddle. Stafford spikes the ball, stop the clock. 1st and 10 at the 30. Timeout and a couple incompletes, right? Yeah, the incomplete. Pass incomplete to Adams. Clock went down to 2. That's how much time they took off. Did they take off 10 seconds there on that incomplete pass? Wow. That's dangerous. That was like they almost ran out of time. They almost messed up. Because that was an incomplete pass. Not like they ran like a run play just to get like in a good field goal position right there. So that's a risky business. But hey, they held on overtime. So the Rams have a chance here, man, to go 4-1. San Francisco 49ers just holding on for dear life now. Rams got to feel good. They're hyped. They're home. This is a big game. This is a big game for the Rams, and especially for them to go 4-1 here. You know, give credit to Mac Jones and 49ers. It's just, you know, he's just trying to navigate them through a winning record in time so that Purdy can come back off that injury. See how much time. Oh, sorry, I knew I did that pro streamer stuff. See how much time Purdy's got left. Is he still? Yeah, he's week to week at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, week to week. That turf toe, man. We'll see. Yeah, but Mac Jones, hell of an effort tonight. Obviously, you know, a bit of a letdown in the sense of what you're seeing transpire here, you know, late in this game. You know, Rams, you know, finding a way to come back. You know, Mac Jones and that offense just, I would put it on them more so in the fact that you got to find a way to score a little bit more there. You know, they only had 14 through 3 quarters, the Rams I'm talking about. You know, defensively, 49ers doing their thing, you know, and, hey, you know, they turned it on when they needed to, the Rams. But, again, you know, only 6 points in the second half. If you're the 49ers, you know, unacceptable. Especially with some of the numbers they're putting up through the air, you would think that they would find a way. But, you know, in the second half, it's kind of gone cold. You know, 17 points compared to 6. And clearly not enough. And you're talking just the field goal would have made a difference. The field goal more. You know, so if you can, you know, even just match them, you know, a little bit there. But kudos to Rams. Let's see if they can close it out. I don't know if I'm sticking around for this OT. The OTs now with the format go a little long. So now, you know, each team guaranteed that possession regardless of a touchdown. I don't know if I like this lighting. I should have probably checked on this lighting situation earlier. But anyway, thank you all for joining me tonight. Oh, are my numbers bad? Am I laggy, everybody? I don't think my numbers are bad. I'm looking at some of my my streaming stats right now, making sure it's all good. But a little over an hour now. I think I might get out of here. I really just wanted to hop on because it's been a while. Got home from vacation and, you know, just got done running my third marathon of the year. Went hiking, played a little golf, did my thing. What just happened? Who's got it? Who's got the ball to start the half here? Not start the half. Who's got the ball to start the... There was a penalty? Short of the landing zone. Placed at the San Francisco 49. Oh, or no, San Francisco 40. Oh, yeah. How could you do that? How could you start it off here with a penalty? Oh, no. And here you go. Mac Jones already moving. Pass short left. I cannot pronounce this receiver's name. Juszczyk? Juszczyk? To the Rams, 48 for 12 yards, man. Woo! Let me tell you, if they could go down and get a touchdown and put the pressure on the Rams here, that would be something. But yeah, came home from vacation, so, just thought I'd, pop on. We did do a stream. I didn't check some of the end result on that, how that audio was and all that, but I didn't have my normal setup, obviously, when I was upstate. But we did do a stream. Talked a little baseball, talked a little everything going on, football, and Dub hopped on there for me. Shout out to Dub, for coming on. So I just wanted to come on today, talk a little bit. I was excited, man. Get home, watch a little Yankee, Boston Red Sox baseball, man. Wild card, game 3. Hell of a game. Just a fabulous pitching performance. One of the best pitching performances in recent memory. Certainly this year. I'd love to see the kid, close it out and actually, get a chance at going for the complete game shutout. Obviously he goes to Bednar there, which, I had questioned the move to go to Bednar because, it's third straight day. If anything, I go to Williams. But, hey, he closed it out, so I can't get too mad, I suppose. He did what he had to do there. But it was just a one hell of a pitching performance up and down from the kid. And I can't wait to see what he does against Toronto, honestly. And where the Yankees decide to place him now. Obviously, the series is going to start on the 4th, so I would think he'd probably go game 3. They'll go with Fried, Rodon, game 2, and then the kid for game 3. We'll see what they do after that. I think, go heel game 4. That's got to be the recipe there. And again, offensively, you got to have Jazz in this lineup. Righty, lefty, doesn't matter. You got to have him in the lineup. Defensively, he's making plays out there. Made a hell of a play. Saving play, even though he ended up throwing the ball away in game 2, in that same play that I'm referring to, the diving stop, prevents the ball from getting through, throws it to first, but the ball trickles away. Obviously the runner not going. I forget who was running for Boston, but, the fact that they didn't send him or he didn't make the decision to go, especially with 2 outs, you never know what happens after that. The ball trickles away on the Jazz throw, and who knows if it's a clean throw in the home plate. And, there you go. Boston's, turns that game around and maybe even steals this series. But lo and behold, that's not what happened. Jazz makes that play, keeps it tight, runner stays, and changes the whole outcome of that game in game 2. Game 3, going out there, being a presence, getting some hits and doing his thing. You just need him in the lineup. He's big time for it. Rice, I like to see him, but, I'm okay with the interchanging of, him and Schmidt. Especially just get a little bit more, veteran spot there late, or a little bit help defensively as well. Rice with the drop ball today doesn't help. Rosario, as long as there's a lefty on the mound, I don't see how you don't have him in the lineup. As long as there's a lefty out there. I know he struggles with the righties and just overall, but it's those types of intangibles that you need, you know, and hopefully, you know, your other big boppers, the Bellingers of the world, Stanton, you know, Judge, they can, you know, they continue to do it. Judge has been hitting. He's just not hitting for power right now, which is fine. You hope that doesn't flame out in a series here against Toronto that can also hit for power. So we'll see. You know, we'll see how it goes by. I think it's going to be a different story. Off the top of my head, if I had to just guess, man, I don't know. I just feel like in this series, it could really go either way. But I think the Yankees are the better team. I think they handle it. I think they handle it convincingly here, and they win 4-2. You know, 6 games. 6 games? Wait, no. I think it's still a 5-game format. What am I talking about? At this point, let me check real quick. Yeah, still 5-game format. So I think, probably, 3-2. I can see it. So maybe they go, the 5 games. Maybe they do at this point. I'd be surprised if the Yankees beat them 3-1, just for the sake. I think it could be, this 5-game format, it could get interesting at times. I think the Jays could battle with them, but I just thought, if it was the 7-game, that they would go 6, but Yankees would still win 4-2. They're the better team in my opinion. But you look back in the season series as we were breaking it down earlier, and the Jays have the upper hand. So I don't know. It really could go either way, but I think this is a different team, especially with Cam in the mix. I do think he's a game changer. Let's see what you can get from Carlos Rodon in this series. Fried, you got to think that he's going to show up for you. Let's just hope they can actually win with his efforts. And again, if they're in a position here in game 1, and he's pitching late 7th, and he's got a chance to go 8. You damn well you better see him go 8, and you're seeing it tonight. I mean, go figure, right? You don't let Fried go, your ace, in game 1, but you let the kid Cam go into the 8th and pitch through the 8th, no problem. Honestly, I would let him go out for the 9th. Again, I said it all night, but they chose not to. It worked out. Okay, good for the Yanks. You move on. But in this series going forward against Toronto, I don't care. Let your starters start. This is that old school baseball. You need it. You can't rely on this Yankee bullpen the deeper it gets. Bednar, Williams, okay. I don't really want to be messing around with Leiter and guys that are like, I just know. Let these starters go as deep as you can. They're going to need it. If the Yankees want to win and they want to perform in this postseason, it's going to come down to their pitching. I always said that. I didn't think they had enough, but Cam Schlittler certainly, brought new life to this Yankee rotation and deepened it, much like you would have seen with Cole in the mix. Now Heal's got to become a part of that in this series for sure. And I think they match up very well against the Blue Jays, despite what the season record says. So I think it's a different team. At least pitching wise. They added more pieces to the puzzle for sure. So we'll see. And I don't feel that energy from the Jays. Jays got to make a statement and win and come right out here and win game 1. You lose this one, I think they lose the series big time. I just do. I I think there's a chance it'll still go 5. You know, but it'll have that feel like the Yankees will be ahead the whole time. I think, you know, the Yankees could jump out early here and win game 1. And the Jays are always going to be, you know, playing catch up in this series. Maybe the Yankees steal 2 in Toronto right off the bat. They got to be careful here. You know, I would think it's 1-1 coming back to New York for game 3 and Cam on the mound. Wouldn't that be something? Again, the kid gets the ball again, game 3, you know, in a 1-1 situation, you know, trying to take the lead in the series. That would be sick. Definitely, you know, very tense situation, but you got to trust him. You got to like him right in that spot. I could see that being a scenario in this series. And that's what I mean by that, you know, and it'd just be a kind of tight back and forth series, but I think the Yankees will have that upper hand all the way through, winning game 1. And they'll close it out in game 5. I'm going with that prediction. So they'll win in game 5, 3-2. They'll win game 1, lose game 2. It just a 1-1, just a back and forth, you know, fun series indeed. And I think you're going to see some more offense. I do. I don't know, you know, in which games, but maybe Cam, you know, doesn't do as well as he did last time. I mean, that's going to be hard to repeat. 12 strikeouts, no walks, 8 innings, shutout baseball. Jeez. But let me tell you, if he has like another similar type performance and they win this series and then you go on to the championship series, and then, you know, like, you know, he just has a decent series, and he's going to be in the conversation, you know, for MVP of these playoffs. You know, why not? But we'll see. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Congratulations to the New York Yankees in advance, and congratulations to all the teams. Detroit, Cubbies, Dodgers. What a sad series that was, by the way. Just a quick note on that. You know, this video of Teoscar Hernandez right before he goes up. He already hit a home run earlier in the game, looking at his tablet. One of the coaches comes over, shows him the tablet. Hey, look, you know, oh, okay. Laughs, goes up to the bat, goes up to the plate, and proceeds to hit his second home run of the day. It was very clear that Cincinnati was tipping their pitches. Apparently, a lot of their pitchers, if not all of them, were tipping their pitches. It just shows the stark contrast between the Dodgers and Cincinnati Reds. Doesn't make me feel any better as a Met fan, because I don't know if they would have necessarily, you know, beat the Dodgers either. They probably would have been, you know, smacked around real quick, you know, gotten swept easily in 2 games with the way with the state of their pitching. But that was probably the worst wild card series out of them all. All the other ones were entertaining. This one, though, no. Really could care less. And, you know, going forward, we'll see. The Dodgers, you know, I did forget to mention them as one of those teams. But, yeah, Dodgers, Phillies. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm probably rooting for the Phillies in the Dodgers, Phillies. Oh, God. Like, that's disgusting. You know, as a Met fan, that's a disgusting series. But if I had to root for them, man, I just find the Phillies fine. Oh, God, I don't know. I just don't want to see the Dodgers because of the money. The Phillies are the better vibe, you know. Dodgers are very corporate vibe, you know. The whole Ohtani thing, I don't want to see it anymore, you know. Honestly, Ohtani kind of turned me off with the whole gambling scandal with his interpreter. I'm not, I mean, he's fascinating talent. He's phenomenal. But when I look at him now, I look at him a little differently with that whole thing. And I don't really know why, because, you know, like I place bets every now and then. Like, you know, I can't say I'm anti-gambling, but, you know, it wasn't even like he was gambling on baseball, but it was just that whole thing and, covering it up and, him not knowing about it. It just rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, that's kind of nonsense. This guy spent millions of dollars of your own money and you had no idea about it. I don't know. It just seemed awfully fishy. It's like, why, man? Just accept it, just, you did it, bro, like, yeah, like, why, why be like that? I don't know. But that's kind of a gross series. Anyway, that's going to be the third game of the day. So on October 4th, 2 days from now, you get 2:08 starting with the Cubs Brewers, Yankees Blue Jays 4:08, Tigers Mariners going 8:38, skipping ahead there, and Dodgers Phillies 6:38. Okay. Those are your Game 1 divisional round matchups. Man, we are getting close to the end of this Major League Baseball season. And this is going to be an exciting round. I think all rounds involved here are really good matchups. I would think, the two weakest or the weakest is probably Tigers Mariners. But who knows? I mean, Tigers were at one point one of the best teams in all of baseball. Excuse me. So, who knows? Why does this series not have to be that way? It's interesting. I'm not seeing any odds on the Yankees Blue Jays Game 1 yet. I don't know why. I see the odds for everything else in terms of the money line odds. There we go. Give me that. It's open? So it's an even? Yeah, probably. Oh, no. Plus 105. Plus 105 for the Yanks. Yeah, all right. The Toronto is slightly favored in Game 1. How about that, Yankee fans? Backs up against the walls already. Nah, listen. This team tied during the regular season. Blue Jays were a great team at home, 54-27. And they certainly defended that against the Yankees during the regular season. Beat them up at home, swept them in a 4-game series in Toronto. So will that have an effect on them? Will that, come into play? Totally something on the table. But to me, this Yankee team is a little bit different, especially with the way Cam is pitching right now. You throw Heel into the mix, and all of a sudden, the vibes could be a little bit different. Let's see if they can change the narrative come this series starting in 2 days. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you were able to join me during the live stream on Twitch and YouTube, appreciate you. If you're watching in post, please like, comment, follow, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. And as always, man, keep showing up. Yes, baseball is over for my beloved New York Mets, but that doesn't mean baseball is over for you and us as spectators. So I will be breaking it all down during this MLB postseason. And, little football. Quick update before I go. Let's see if we have a result with the football. We do. Wow. 49ers hold on and come back to win it there in OT 26-23. Mac Jones and the 49ers are 4-1. Rams moved to 3-2. A rather disappointing loss for them. Man. Wow. Williams stuffed on 4th and 1 as 49ers fend off. So Williams had a pretty good game, but wow, and it was a big part in that last drive to tie it there, but it all falls apart for the Rams in overtime. They do get the chance, 49ers get the ball, and they got a great field of position to start with the penalty to start the OT, and they capitalized, ended up getting a field goal. Rams obviously, you heard that Williams stuffed on 4th and 1, and that's how it ends for the Rams. So big win for San Francisco, as Mac Jones is holding down the fort until Brock Purdy's return. And San Francisco was one of my high picks. I thought they were going to be pretty good. So far, so good in this early season. Not over for the Rams here, but this one hurts a little bit, no doubt. You'd like to see them, finish this one out. I did think, at some point, through 3 quarters, it seemed like they had no business being in this game, but San Francisco let them back in, and ultimately found a way to win. So lucky for them on that one. All right. Friday's coming tomorrow. We got some college football. We got a whole slate of wild card baseball games Saturday, and of course NFL Sunday. I'll be getting on stream again talking about that sometime in the next day or two. And we'll break it all down. We'll talk about last week's picks and last week's slate of games. We'll talk about this week's upcoming slate of games. You got New York Giants fans. How you feeling with the Jackson Dart era? 1-3, 0-4 on the year. 0-4 on the year for the New Orleans Saints. So Giants looking to go 2-3. Hey man, 2-3, and all of a sudden, you can start changing the narrative a little bit. So it's a big spot for them. My Jets facing Dallas, forget it. I just don't. It would be like Dallas like to lose to the Jets and get the Jets their first win of the season. But, man, I don't know. I have no faith. Philadelphia going up against 2-2. Denver, Broncos, Baltimore, 1-3. Not a good start for the Ravens, man. This is looking real bad real quick, but a bit of a soft spot in the schedule. 1-3, Houston Texans. So let's see if they find a way. Indiana, Las Vegas going at it. Indiana finally losing one. But let's see if Indiana Jones could get right back on track with a win against Vegas. Miami, Carolina, nothing to see there. Tampa, Seattle, good 3-1 matchup there. Tennessee looking to get off the schneid and get their first win on the road against Arizona, 2-2. Arizona's 2-2. LA going up against the Commanders, 3-1. LA is Commanders 2-2 on the year. Detroit 3-1. Bengals 2-2. They are facing off in Cincinnati, and then Buffalo taking on New England. And it's Sunday night, and it's going to be Kansas City, Jacksonville on Monday night. Jacksonville 3-1 on the year, going up against the 2-2 Kansas City Chiefs. All right. One more thing before I go. The whole Bad Bunny situation. Okay, let's just address that a little bit. Now, I'm not a listener of Bad Bunny's music. I've heard a couple of songs. Everything I've ever heard is super catchy. It's just overall good vibes. I'm not gonna knock it. Obviously a lot of his songs primarily in Spanish. All good. I'm Puerto Rican. He's Puerto Rican. He comes from Puerto Rican. It's all good. I'm with it. I don't speak the language. I'm trying to learn the language. I've been doing my thing with that lately, actually. So I'm starting to learn a little bit more Spanish. Small stuff, small talk, but I'm picking it up. I'm learning. I'm still not at the point where I feel like super confident enough to talk, but I'm pretty sure in a couple of scenarios I will do just fine. At least when it comes to talking about food and like practical stuff, like getting around. Like if I needed to travel and like eat, go to a hotel, this and that. I know how to I know the basics like that. I can. Real conversation. We're still still a work in progress for sure. But But even if I didn't, even if I didn't even know what I know, for one, I'm sure they're gonna have translation up on the screen, and I believe you can have closed captions up and be translated easily. So like that's not even an issue. So what? So you want to read the lyrics? Too bad. It's not the first time you have had a non-English speaking singer, take the stage at the halftime show. And for those saying that he's not American, well, y'all need to take a look back at your history a little bit, because Puerto Rico's a part of America. So, he's American. Let's just clear that up a little bit. If we want to use that as the argument as to why we shouldn't let Bad Bunny perform, again, take a look back at history, because there's a whole list of non-American artists who have performed at the Super Bowl halftime show. For you white folk out there, Coldplay is probably the most notable. Okay, U2 as well, right? They're not from America, not American. Rolling Stones, whatever. Like, stop. Yes, he does not. Primarily his songs are in Spanish. Okay, fine, it's cool. Like, it's not a problem. Again, if you have a problem with that, maybe you're the problem. I don't know. Read the lyrics, or I don't know, read it on your phone, read it on the screen, whatever, or just listen and have a good time. Or don't watch at all. Nobody cares. It's not about you. You know what I'm saying? But, the thousands of kids, whatever, children, fans, the people of Puerto Rico, the proud people of Puerto Rico, let them have their moment. Let them have their time to shine. Let him go up there and represent, where he comes from and his people, his culture, And that's it, man. And, it's American, It's Puerto Rico. All right? I'm sorry, man. It's the problem. It just screams, divisiveness. Like, y'all didn't have a problem when Shakira was up on the stage shaking her ass and, doing whatever and speaking Spanish, right? But Bad Bunny's an issue? I don't know, man. I don't get it anymore. I don't get what's wrong with you guys. Listen, again, like, I'm not, a listener of the guy's music, but I'm not a hater either. I would probably listen more. I've had since this announcement has come out, I have heard some more songs, and from what I've heard, it's actually really good, and having read the lyrics to understand it, yes, I've taken the time to actually read the lyrics in English so that I know the hell I'm listening to. Damn good. He's got some bangers in there, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? So again, just open your eyes just a little bit, Don't be afraid to have a little culture. It's Bad Bunny, all right? And I'm glad they went with Bad Bunny, because Bad Bunny is appropriate. The way, just his music is, the whole vibe, his dancing, his feel good, has you moving. I was hearing rumors that Adele was going to be a Super Bowl halftime. Oh, my, kill me now. As much as I like Adele, and I think she's vocally one of the most talented singers, quite possibly of all time, damn, what a sleeper of a halftime show that would be if Adele was performing at the Super Bowl halftime. What? Like, I don't know, man. I can't wrap my head around that one. That would, that would hurt me. I don't know. Just how depressing. I don't even think she has like one upbeat song. What's that one upbeat song? Now I'm thinking about it. There is like one. You know, but it's like, nah, man. Sorry. I couldn't have it all. I could have had it all. Nah, man. We're not banging to that at the Super Bowl. I need something more. This Bad Bunny guy is gonna have this place rocking. You can boycott it all you want, man, but my living room is gonna be bussin'. All right. Yeah, so just say it. You want to come over to my crib for the Super Bowl? All right, we're gonna be playing it loud and proud. Let that Bad Bunny music be doing its thing, and can't wait, man. Should be good. So good stuff. Good Thursday night football. Kickoff to week 5. Can't believe it's already week 5. Started this stream all talking about Yankees, Boston. I was supposed to leave about like 20 minutes ago, but you know how this goes. Again, thank you everybody for the support. As always, it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's always fun doing the shows. Episode 39 now. You know, bit of a live reaction, teetering into an episode, but you know, an episode nonetheless. Next one will be episode 40. Can't wait. We'll see if Dub could come on and join us for that. Obviously, going to be talking a lot of wild card baseball and some more football. And before you know it, hockey and basketball will be right here. So all that's coming. I've seen videos of the new look Knicks and the Mike Brown offense. Oh boy. A lot to talk about in the sports world, a lot to talk about in the regular world, but didn't get into any of that tonight. But we will in the near future. Again, thank you all for joining me in live tonight here on Twitch and YouTube. Please like, comment, follow, subscribe, the whole 9. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right. It's Matty B sending off on this beautiful Thursday night. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. I will see you soon. Keep showing up.
I've been known to play mine to a T, but it's time for me to leave, picking dirt right out the cleats. Steep path, roadblocks in the streets, trying to knock me off my feet, cause the devil never sleeps. So I don't sleep too, and trying to breach safes that I didn't have the keys to. We all been victims of trauma we ain't agreed to, but the sun comes after, starting up a new chapter.
Isn't it lovely? I ain't looking back and focus on what's in front of me. Everybody days a number, but I'm still here luckily. I know that God got me, so I'm in good company. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Until next time, keep showing up. It's your boy Matty B, Epis Sports Radio. Congrats to the New York Yankees. They're moving on to face Toronto on Saturday, Game 1. Keep showing up.